Hey everyone, it's Kine. In today's episode of 31 Days of Halloween, which is a new makeup tutorial every day of October, we are transforming into the grotesque monster bride of Frankenstein's monster. You know, many people mistakenly call the monster Frankenstein, when actually Frankenstein is the name of the scientist Victor Frankenstein. In the novels, the monster he creates is actually nameless and goes by Demon, or the Creature, or the Fiend. When I was in 10th grade, I actually did a book report on Frankenstein, so not saying I'm an expert, but I guess I'm kind of an expert. For this makeup look, I took some inspiration from different Hollywood interpretations of the monster and his bride, but here are the basic supplies you're going to want to have in order to recreate this look. And check out the description for my recipe on how to make your own fake blood using red food coloring. So one important feature for her look is the hair, and I'm going to show you how I tease my wigs and stack them together to create my hair. But you could always just work with your real hair, add a streak with white paint, or go get a Bride of Frankenstein wig at Party City for like 20 bucks. But in my case, I'm just using what I got. So to start off, I'm taking this black wig I have, and I'm gonna pin it to my styrofoam head using some sewing needles. I know it's nowhere near what the professionals do, but I don't have wig pins or a canvas block head. But basically, I just pin the wig down at the hairline with needles in the lace so that it doesn't move when I brush it. If you don't have a styrofoam head, you could try to do it on your own head, or a friend. But now I'm taking a small section along the hairline. I'm going ear to ear in about 4 sections. But I'm taking the first one and I'm back combing and teasing the back of it. And I'm using a rat tail comb for this. And you're going to tease it mostly at the roots until it can stand by itself, and then move on to the next section. When 2 adjacent sections are done, you're going to want to pick both of them up and tease them together so that they're not separate anymore. And again, when it can hold up its own weight, I'm going to move on to the next section. Don't tease too tightly and intensely, otherwise it's going to be a nightmare to undo and detangle it. You want to let some air into the teasing so it has volume with less work. And this is what it should look like when you're done teasing. So now I'm taking a detangling brush and I'm going to smooth out the surface on the front of the head. And I'm just brushing it lightly, but it's going to inevitably undo some of the teasing. However, if you don't do this step, it's just going to look super ratty. As you can see, after brushing it out, it's a lot flatter now, but it's still quite bigger and sassier than before. So just zhuzh it up to get more of that volume. And now I'm also teasing some random sections from the main bulk of the head, just to get more volume and body. If this was a beauty look, I probably wouldn't let it get this ratty, but I mean, it's a monster for God's sakes. A trick I've picked up to getting a big updo is I just pick up hair from the body and I pin it up higher, kind of like you were doing a half up, half down pinup style. Probably not the best technique, but it works for my purposes. But now I'm done with this part of the hair, and now I'm going to reach for my gray wig. Brushing it out a little from the last time I used it, and then I'm selecting a couple of strands from the front part, and I'm going to use these to keep out and lay on top of the black hair, kind of like that white lightning bolt streak on the Hollywood version of Frankenstein's bride. I didn't have white hair, but this is the closest thing I had. And the rest of this huge long wig, I'm going to put in a ponytail in the back. Now I'm putting that black wig over top. I mean, it's hard to get it to cover the entire gray wig since it's so big, but I didn't really need it to cover it perfectly. It's okay if it was grungy. But now I'm taking those gray strands and laying them on top of that big updo the way I like. And you can secure it with hairspray, but I didn't because I don't like having to wash my wigs. And that is a finished hair. Now let's start painting. So part of our face is going to be just standard beauty makeup, but the large majority of it is going to be this grotesque drag monster. So on that side of the face, I'm going to glue down the eyebrow so I can draw on a new one, since I want there to be a strong noticeable difference between the 2 sides of the face. Now I'm dividing up my face using just a random lip liner I had. The idea behind Frankenstein's monster, or his bride, at least my understanding of it, is that the monster was created by attaching together the body parts of different corpses that Victor Frankenstein dug up from the cemetery. So these are going to be the lines of demarcation between those different faces. But now I'm taking some liquid latex, pouring it into a little dish, since if you leave the cap off, the entire bottle will start to dry up, so pour out a little by little. And I'm applying it to those lines that I made. Liquid latex, when you combine it with some cotton, creates this moldable substance that you can shape and form into a little wall. So I'm saturating that string of cotton in latex, then I'm pushing one side of it, and I'm just using the end of a tweezer. The side that I'm not pushing with a tweezer, I'm blending it into the skin by just flattening it out. Now this is probably a lot easier done using scar wax, but liquid latex is all I had today and it's probably a lot easier to get your hands on. But you can totally skip this little process if you don't want to do it. It's just a detail that you can only really see if you look closely anyway. But you're going to build up this little wall on all those lines that we drew so that the whole stitched together faces illusion looks more believable. And then we're going to take a single cotton ball, soak it in latex, and stick it onto the monster brow. Now warning, if you don't glue down your brows like I did, you run a big risk of ripping out your brow hairs upon removal since the latex can pull them out when you take it off. So I recommend gluing down the brows with a waxy glue stick for that reason, but some people just use Vaseline to protect the brows, or they remove their latex with a special remover. Anyway, the point of adding this cotton ball is I'm trying to build the appearance of kind of a furrowed, bushy, angry eyebrow. So it's like the forehead skin is curling up here near the nose. You could create a similar look using makeup, but the latex buildup is a technique that I just wanted to show you, plus it adds more realism and texture. Now form it into the shape you want and make sure it blends upwards into the forehead. Now since the cotton had so much latex in it, it's going to take a long time to dry. You could blow dry it if you want, but I'm just going to wait for it to dry by painting the beauty/human part of the makeup. And I'm just doing a simple beat with foundation, eye makeup, and brows. If you try to paint over wet latex, you'll surely live to regret it. It'll just ruin your brushes and the paint won't really stick anyway. Anyway, I'm not going too much into detail on this beauty makeup because I'm sure you're probably watching this video to see the monster part of the look, but if you're interested, you can find all of the products I use down in the description. So before moving on, be sure you paint flesh tone on all the latex little walls that we created so they're not just white, except of course the brow, which is going to be green. And now we're going to start painting the monster's face. I'm mixing a green water paint with a bit of red to create a dirty, muddy, ashy green color, and I'm just going to paint this everywhere. Now I found that the water paints didn't really take to the latex well, so I used a cream paint from my Imagic flash palette to create a similar color, and I painted those areas. Next, using a white, you're going to mix them with that green to create your highlight shade, and highlight all the conventional areas like the brow and beneath the eyes, and don't neglect the neck and chest. Now I'm taking a white eyeshadow and I'm highlighting my brow bone. Placing white here makes it look even higher and more arched. And now I'm taking a dark, dirty green color. This is Dirty Martini from Makeup Geek, but brown eyeshadow also works if you don't have green. And I'm darkening the eye socket, placing special focus on the inner crease right underneath that latex buildup. This makes the eyes look more deep set and really highlights and showcases the dimension of that brow skin we made. Using black eyeshadow, you're going to deepen those shadows in the same areas as you did before just to make it look darker. And then next, I'm taking a dark red eyeshadow. I wanted to create the appearance of like some bruising and sickness. And also, I wanted to make my under eyes appear darker and distressed. Feel free to get messy with this and make it look grungy. I'm also adding shadow to the nostrils, making like a stank face and scrunching up my nose to see where the shadows and wrinkles naturally lie, and then shading those in with makeup so that my nose looks permanently angry. I'm also using black to round out the ball of the nose so it looks more wretched, like a witch. And then here I'm taking brown contour color and I'm shading around the face. We don't want it so that the eyes and the nose are the only places with dimension and that everything else is just flat green. So just go around the perimeter of your face. It's okay if it's patchy. And then I'm creating the brows using black eyeshadow, starting underneath that latex cotton ball and then going over the top of the white highlight we made. Also using the black to create wrinkles around the forehead that add to that angry furrowed brow look. Here I've added these yellow lenses and now I'm taking a brown cream paint and a stippling sponge. And a stipple sponge is kind of like this 3D mesh cube that's meant to create texture. And we're using it to make the face look dirty by adding brown spots of dirt in random areas. Now I'm taking some red and black water paints and I'm creating the bloody barrier between these patches of skin. Just trace along the lines you've made. I only added the black since I prefer my blood to be a darker shade of red. And you could leave it at that, but if you have the chance to get some fake blood, or in my case some red food coloring and corn syrup, we are going to use that. The benefit of this is A, it drips like blood, and B, it's gooey and shiny, so it's gonna look a lot more realistic than using a paint that dries matte. If the blood doesn't want to drip, perhaps you need to add more water to it, or just force it to drip using your brush. Now I'm taking that stippling sponge and creating a splattered blood look using more fake blood. If you don't have a stipple sponge, you could use like a toothbrush or even a crumpled up paper towel. Be creative. For the little stitches, I've taken this black wire / twisty tie thing and I'm cutting it up, bending it and gluing that on with liquid latex and tweezers. Again, just scour your house or your trash bin for something to use. When I ran out of wire, I ended up resorting to just drawing on the stitches with eyeliner, which is less realistic, but it gives a very similar effect. And then that's pretty much it for the makeup. After taking some pictures and doing some modeling poses, I felt like there was something off with the look, so I took some black liquid liner and distressed my teeth a little bit. Actually, they sell a product for this exact purpose. It's called Tooth Enamel, and it probably works a lot better, but I've never used it. I mean, you know, the motto of this channel is work with what you've got. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, everyone. This is the finished look. I love creating this one, and I can't wait to see your comments, so be sure to leave some for me to read. Subscribe and thumbs up this video if you already haven't. And tune in tomorrow for another episode of 31 Days of Halloween and see what else I have in store this October. But until next time, I'll see you all in my next video. Bye!